Ahmadjan Madmarov is a long-standing human rights defender who has worked for over 30 years defending the rights of people in Uzbekistan. He is the regional chairman of the independent human rights organisation of Uzbekistan, which is one of the few registered human rights non-governmental organisations in Uzbekistan. Ahmadjan is based in Margilan, in the troubled Fergana Valley. There is no freedom of expression, political, religious or otherwise in Uzbekistan. Human rights defenders, as well as political opponents, religious activists and independent journalists face arrest, torture and imprisonment. Some have been killed and many have been forced into exile. The Uzbek state deals with any opposition from religious groups by branding them Islamic fundamentalists and targeting them as terrorists. Ahmadjan Madmarov is one of the few human rights defenders willing to overcome the pervasive climate of fear and take up the cases of those arrested and tortured without any evidence of illegal activity. Ahmadjan has also sought to protect the rights of people persecuted for expressing their religious beliefs, such as through wearing a scarf or a beard. Ahmadjan Madmarov is regularly threatened, is followed by Uzbek security forces most of the time, and is frequently summoned to the prosecutor's office. But the most terrible part of the persecution he is facing is that 3 of his sons and 2 nephews have been imprisoned and tortured because of his human rights work. His oldest son, Abdullah Madmarov, who's a football player, was even abducted from the neighbouring Kyrgyz Republic as he was playing in a match. His sons and nephews have been convicted after unfair trials of being members of an illegal political organisation, Hizb ut-Tahrir, but Ahmadjan denies that any of them have had any connection with the organisation and states that no credible evidence has been presented against them in court. Indeed, 2 of them were outside the country when the alleged offences were supposed to have taken place, and another was at the time undertaking national service. In 2000, some months after the arrests of his family members started, Ahmadjan was informed by the deputy head of the Margilan militia, Adil Ahmadjanov, that the militia had decided not to arrest him, as he was too old and he would be freed under an amnesty, but that instead they would use different means to make him silent. Stop your human rights activity and we will let your sons alone. We will stop torturing them. Maybe we will help them to be freed. Ahmadjan had been warned by the authorities a number of times that he faces legal proceedings if he continues to promote human rights. In 2003, Ahmadjan was warned that he would face criminal charges if he continued to attend protest marches. He spoke openly at a meeting about the persecution of his family, including the imprisonment, torture and ill treatment of his sons and nephews. Following the meeting, his oldest son, Abdullah Madmarov, was placed in solitary confinement for 5 months. All 5 of Ahmadjan's family members are still in prison. It is feared that all 5 of them are at risk of being further ill-treated or tortured while in state custody. Earlier this week we asked Ahmadjan how he was able to continue his human rights work in the face of this repression.
One of my sons was beaten up literally to the pulp, and he was all bleeding. He was absolutely there was not a single place on his body that wasn't bleeding. And my other son has got TB in prison, and I went to them and I said, I understand that you're beaten up and you're suffering because of my job. Maybe I should stop it. Maybe I should quit, and then you'll be all right. And they said, don't. You are the person who have to tell the world about what's happening in Uzbekistan. And if you don't tell the world, nobody will know, and it will never stop in Uzbekistan. And they said, we'll tolerate it, we'll be patient, but just don't quit, keep doing what you're doing. And that's, I'm continuing because of it. Yeah, the Frontline is an organization that is involved in defending the defenders, defending the human rights defenders. And this award is a big honor for me, and it's very important that I can take part in this ceremony because I can tell people in the world, I can tell Europe about what's happening in Uzbekistan, and that's what's very important about it. and that's why I want to take part in it so badly. And the fact that after I return to Uzbekistan, when I go back, I'm going to face there, I don't know. Maybe I'll be charged with membership in Hizb ut-Tahrir, whatever. I'm not afraid of that. I want to continue my work, and this award will only give me more energy and more strength, and it will support me. And I'm just hoping that by taking part in this ceremony, I will be able to convey the message that I have to as many people in the world as I can. And the only thing I want is to inform as many people as possible about the situation in Uzbekistan.
With the support of his family, Ahmadjan Madmarov has continued his peaceful work for the human rights of others. In spite of this most terrible repression, his courage and quiet dignity are an inspiration to the people he works to help and to those who work with him. He is a truly worthy winner of the second Frontline Award for Human Rights Defenders at Risk.